welcome back to Finally Revealed. I'm Michelle. I'm going to take us back to the election, the November 8, 2016 election, and talk about Supreme Court justice votes. Similar to the federal system, which our founding fathers set up, which has three branches of government, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch, so do the states have that same setup. For the judicial branch, it is the court system, and states have Supreme Courts just like the United States has a Supreme Court. To have those positions on their state courts filled, some states have the candidates run for election, similar to other types of political office. In other states, they are appointed either by the legislature and the governor or a separate committee, and then the governor chooses. They're done in different fashions. In either way, whether it is election, which some people criticize because they don't want people who are running for judge to be affiliated with a political party, or the appointment process, which some people criticize because they don't want people to put their cronies in the position of Supreme Court. But in either method that they choose, the states then have a check to we the people so that we get to have a say. Obviously, if they're running for election, the people have a direct say in who's going to be on the court. In an appointment situation, there are certain reasons for why the court is appointed. However, the people also then have the choice and the chance to vote to retain them or not. A retention is a vote thumbs up or thumbs down for that person. They're not running against someone else. And so how they determine who will stay in the position of the judge is how many people vote, and if more than half of the people say don't retain him or her, then they won't be retained, and then the process will start again to fill that position. If you vote yes, they will be retained, then they stay in that position for the next part of their term. And usually it's for a particular number of years. So for the November 8 election, I want you to get a head start. 26 states will be either choosing Supreme Court justices or voting to retain them. So here we go. At the bottom, if you want to skip to your state, you can look down in the description and click to your state, and it will bring up that category that your state is in, so you'll understand what is going on for your state. First, for partisan elections, these two states have justices, people running for justice of the Supreme Court of their state, and they will show their political party affiliation. Those two states are Alabama and Texas. All right, next we have the nonpartisan election, the general election in November. These 10 states will have people running for Supreme Court justice. Their party affiliation may be known in other ways, but it is not going to be listed on the ballot. These 10 states are Idaho, Kentucky, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, North Carolina, North Dakota, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. Those are the nonpartisan elections for Supreme Court judge on this next ballot. Next, we move to retention. Now, retention can come up in two ways. In some states, the people have to first run for a regular election to get on the Supreme Court. Then once they're voted on, they come up periodically for retention, meaning do we keep them or not keep them. In other states, they are selected by a committee, sometimes attorneys and judges and members of the public, and then the governor chooses the final few candidates that are vetted, or there may be other types of arrangements. But in those situations where there's an appointment, the candidates usually come for retention early to the next election if they're brand new, and then once they make it through the public retention process, they stay on for a number of years and then periodically come back on the ballot for the people to decide whether they should stay or go. So these 11 states have people on the ballot in November asking to be retained in office, and it's up to the public. If more than half of the people vote no, we are not going to retain them, then they will not be retained. Otherwise, the votes, if the votes are in favor of retention, they will stay on until the next time they are up for retention. And the people who are up for retention in these positions in the Supreme Court want to continue in the position. If they come up for retention and they want to retire or otherwise move on and not be on the court anymore, they won't be put on the ballot. These 11 states have the retention votes for Supreme Court justices: Arkansas, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Iowa, Kansas, Maryland, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. Now we have two categories that are different. New Mexico starts out as a partisan election, and then once the person is elected, they will then come up for retention. So this year, New Mexico does have a partisan election for Supreme Court judge. Once this person is selected, they will later on come up for retention. So that's New Mexico. Next, we have Michigan and Ohio. These two states had primaries that were partisan. So in the primaries, the people running for these open Supreme Court justice positions made their political affiliation known. However, nonpartisan on the general ballot. So that's Michigan and Ohio. I hope this information was helpful to you. It's a lot better to know what you're doing before you get into the polling place, or if you're going to vote absentee or you're voting in advance, you want to be prepared. And I just wanted to give you the heads up that if you're in one of these 26 states, you're going to be asked to vote on Supreme Court justices, and you can Google your state Supreme Court or your state your Secretary of State to find out those particular individuals. And I hope this was helpful to you. If you have a further question about this, please leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. Thanks so much. If you enjoy this and our other videos, please subscribe. I'll see you next time.